We are backstage, about ready to start our radio show, AbilityMKE Now. There we go, we got our sound correct. And we've got about 15 seconds here. And if you want to watch live on YouTube, you are in the right place. Otherwise, riverwestradio.com. 5 seconds. Welcome to AbilityMKE Now. My name is Sue Roskoff. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we are dedicated to inclusion, connection, community, bringing people together and being relevant to everybody. That is exactly what we do here, bringing people with disabilities and people who don't have a disability together, enjoying life here in the Milwaukee area. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own, with people we know, or with people we encounter in our everyday lives. We all have different and unique abilities, and that is what we celebrate. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we celebrate the ability in all of us. And joining us today is my co-host, Michael Martin Hummel, a writer, speaker, and podcaster dedicated to bridging the gap between disabled and able-bodied communities. How are you doing today, Michael?
I'm very good, thank you. It's good to be here.
Any words of wisdom or updates on your end?
Well, my next event is probably going to be on the 27th. And just words of wisdom, just be accepting.
Be accepting. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. Be accepting. Anything you want to add to that now or as we go?
Well, just listen to all sides of books. Be accepting of people who may disagree with you.
Being accepting of people that may disagree with you. That is perfect. Oh my gosh. We could do an entire show just on that. So I love that. Beautiful. Hang on to that thought and we'll see what we can do to incorporate that as we go here today. I love that. Because I'm excited to be introducing a wonderful guest joining us today. We have Philip Britton in the house, and oh my gosh, he is a dynamic international speaker, Guinness Book World Record holding author, two-time Amazon best-selling co-author, entrepreneur, and creator of the V.I.C.T.O.R.Y framework, equipping Christian leaders to overcome self-doubt and step boldly into their God-given calling. With nearly 2 decades of personal development and a background spanning theater, business ownership, and leadership, Philip blends authenticity with real-world strategy. Known for his powerful communication, he helps leaders forge unshakable confidence and align faith, mindset, and action, unlocking greater influence, purpose, and impact. Philip, I am so happy to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thrilled to have the opportunity to share you with our audience here. So do you want to dive in a bit more here with, I know it says you are the creator of V.I.C.T.O.R.Y framework. Do you want to just give us an idea, what is that?
Sure. The V.I.C.T.O.R.Y framework is really a framework that I came up with through, I felt like God just dropped it in my heart and said, this is what I've taught you over a lifetime. As a child, I had no confidence whatsoever. I was the kid who was bullied, and when the bell rang, I ran for my life. I was beat up and bullied and tormented as a child. My self-esteem was in the toilet, in the dirt, and I felt like I was worthless. I was nothing. I would never achieve anything. And God took a lifetime of lessons to teach me how to build that unshakable confidence. And that is the V.I.C.T.O.R.Y framework now. And each letter it's really an acrostic. The framework really builds on itself. Each letter builds on the prior to the fullness. When you gain clarity and you stack wins in those 7 categories, it really is the foundation for true unshakable confidence.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is beautiful. And you know, I love that piece where I've heard before where people say, God dropped this in my lap. This is something, you know, that's part of your purpose. You know that this is something that you've been given, and not to say that's an easy thing, because you had to go through a lot to get to where
Oh,
you
yeah.
are. Wow. So how long have you been doing this then? When did this really take shape?
Well, that's a loaded question, because I've
Sorry.
been prior to around 2011, I was introduced to a leadership vehicle. And prior to that, I was a part of the Me No Read Club. I got my Xbox, I got Call of Duty, I got Halo. Who needs a book, right?
Right.
And I started my journey in 2011, and then by 2014, I had read so many books and had bolstered my own understanding so much. I had come to the realization that I was no longer employable. I could
Oh
no longer
wow.
work for someone else's dreams, because God gave me dreams. And so I started my own handyman construction company. And I've been doing that for the last 15 years or so, in kind of a parallel path, wearing a tool belt by day and wearing a suit by night, doing leadership seminars and teachings and trainings and cohorts and small groups and men's groups, and really taking what I was learning and investing into other people. And it was an event. I got the opportunity to speak in Nigeria a couple of times for an entrepreneurial convention. And it was at the second trip in Nigeria that God pretty much said, I didn't call you to wear a tool belt. I called you to use your voice. Now go speak. And so this was September of last year. And
Oh
I
wow.
realized I
So this
needed to
is
come
fresh.
home. This is so fresh. I realized at that point that I needed to come home and quietly close down my construction business and wrap up a couple of things for clients, but really put the pedal to the metal in taking the Victory framework to the world. And, you know, I'm not here to build something big. I'm here to help you build something big. I'm not called to greatness. I'm called to call the greatness out of you. We all have gifts. We all have talents. We all have abilities and desires and dreams that God has put in our heart. And my goal now is to call that out of you, out of anybody coming through who's uncertain. It's like they feel stuck and they can't figure out why. They can't hit that next level, or they're unclear on their vision or their purpose or their identity. And I help clear the noise, help you figure out what that is. What has God really called you to do? What is your mission? What is your value? What is your vision for life? And really help you identify that, get clear on it, and then how to build the confidence to really step into that. And that's really the foundation of the Victory framework, and what God's doing now through that, building a community, building the courses, and really walking people into their God-given calling.
Wow. Oh, there are so many people that need what you are saying, because it's like that is so hitting home in so many ways, because we've got the desire for something, for everyone it's different. And
Mm-hmm.
I think most everybody gets to a point of not sure how to get through whatever barriers in front of them. There's something there, there's something in the way. We all have those hurdles, and
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we really need some guidance and help to figure out how am I going to get to the other side, because right now I'm stuck. So that
Yeah.
what you're doing is huge.
Yeah. A lot of times, what we don't realize is that the external victories are preceded by internal victories.
Oh
We're
yes.
not able to achieve those external victories because there's an internal victory that we have not won yet. There's limiting beliefs. There's things from our past that we haven't healed from. There's issues and junk from trauma and abuse and neglect and betrayal and all the stuff that happens to us in life. I read a book a couple of years ago by Pete Scazzaro, and there was a quote in there that just hit me like a ton of bricks when I read it. He said, "The inability to grieve well is the beginning of all addiction." Let me repeat that.
Yeah, that's deep. Say that again.
Man, yeah, it really is. It's so impactful. The inability to grieve well is the beginning of all addiction. Man, I realized that I had some addictive junk in my own life that I had not learned how to grieve, and therefore was not able to heal from. And God took me on a year-long process learning how to grieve well of all of the stuff from my past and my childhood, and a custody issue with my oldest son, and so many things in life that tried to take me out, to push me down, and to just destroy what I had built. And it was that realization and that process that God walked me through a year before my mom died.
Oh.
I read that. I began a year-long process that God took me through to learn how to grieve. And then my mom dies. And it's like, how good is God that he would take me through this process, knowing that I was going to need it just in time for that moment. And I'll tell you, I would not be where I am today had it not been for that circumstance.
Wow. God really does prepare us in so many ways that at the time we don't always recognize, because usually that
Oh,
means you're going through some stuff.
and it's painful. It's
Yes.
hard. It's difficult. I talk about the victory framework in terms of life as a forge. You know, we go in with our raw material, our brick of metal, and we go into the furnace and it's hot. And we have to get to the point where it's so hot that we become pliable, that we stop being rigid. That when we become pliable, it's hot enough. It's so hot we can't take it. We're gonna melt if we get any hotter. And it's right at that time that God pulls us out of the forge, of the fire of the forge, and now he starts to hammer and beat and fold and press, and that's where we begin to take shape. And as we start to get cool, we become rigid again, and we no longer are pliable, and we go right back in the fire. And how many times do we go through this cycle of, I'm in the fire, now I'm getting beaten, I'm in the fire, now I'm getting beaten? And it's that process that God uses to shape us into the knife or the sword or the dagger or the tool or whatever it is that are pre-designed for us to be. As we take shape, then only then can we be polished and sharpened, and we have to be quenched so that our blade can maintain a sharp edge. We have to go through that hardening process after we've been shaped. And so it's this beautiful picture of life and the difficult things that we go through, the hardships that we have to endure, that really set us up for becoming all that we are meant to become. You know, in James, it says that, I thank God for all the trials, all the tribulations, all the hardships, because I know that they produce perseverance. So let perseverance work itself out to perfection so that we lack nothing. And that's this beautiful picture of us being in the forge of life. And we come out, and then we can be presented as this beautiful sword or tool that can now be used. We're sharp, we've been polished, and now we can be used for the purpose that it was intended to be used.
Mm. And I love too that it's victory framework. So there's the whole concept there of the win that's taking place, and that
Mhm.
and I think earlier you had said the win within yourself, the victory inside, so that you can get to that
Internal
victory on the
victories. Yeah.
outside. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I really I'm appreciating how you've put this together and what that means. This is, I think, as we wrap our minds around what that is so helpful. And Michael, I was going to say too, with what you do with your speaking engagements, with the whole concept of being seen, heard, felt, and understood. You got to that
Mm.
point because you have had challenges over the course of time,
Yeah.
and that's where I hear what Philip is saying is very much reflected in conversations you and I have had. I wonder if you want to react a bit.
Well, and I love that you have the framework, and like my purpose came to me one day out of nowhere. It was my mission is to help disabled people see, like just change the way they are seen here in development understood, and to change the way people think about, interact with, and perceive disabled people.
Mm.
And that just came to me out of nowhere. And I think that's the best kind of frameworks and missions and purposes, and just the way you can change the world is just by having it come to you rather than searching for it.
Excellent. And before I forget to ask about this, Philip, I want to ask you about the Guinness World Record. There
You
was,
beat me
there
to
Yeah,
was,
it.
sure.
tell us more about that.
What a cool opportunity it was. So the world record attempt was for the most authors signing the same book simultaneously. The
Oh my
previous
gosh.
record was 126 authors in one room signing books, and we broke the record with 142 authors.
Oh, congratulations.
So what a cool experience. It doesn't come around very often that you get that kind of opportunity. I always wanted to be a Guinness Book World Record holder and something. I never in
Mhm.
my wildest dreams imagined that it would be as an author.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it was you've I think there was around 180 different authors that all contributed something to this book. The book was published and printed and then delivered, and it's that book that everyone has a piece in that book, sort of an anthology, if you will. Whether it's a inspirational quote or framework like the Victory Framework, whether it's just a favorite quote or inspirational poem or saying or whatever. Different people had different levels of contribution, but to have 180 authors all contributing to one book is
Wow.
pretty astronomical.
Yeah.
So we got together in Philadelphia as sort of a patriotic theme. We're celebrating 250 years from the signing of our founding documents as a nation. All of the founders signing one document, and here we are, a bunch of authors signing a document. So it had kind of a patriotic flair to it. It was just something really, really special. And of course, the book is called Legacy in Ink.
Oh, how
Such a
perfect.
fitting title, right?
That is absolutely magic to be part that's what the title is.
Yeah.
And I know, have you written other books besides that?
So I by the end of the summer, um, I'll be in 6 different anthologies
Oh,
as
nice.
co-author, as contributor in some fashion. Um, Actually, there might be a 7th now that I think about it. Um, Meanwhile, I'm in the process of writing my own book. my first solo book. So it's coming. It's nowhere near finished yet. It's in process.
You're a little
But
busy.
it is coming.
Excellent. Does it have a title yet, or is that not nailed down just yet? Because I know that's not
It's not
always
100% nailed down, but
okay.
it'll have something to do with victory.
Perfect. Well, I'm thinking once that is complete, we should have you come on back and give us some insights and highlights and so do you want to give us a little flavor of where it's headed and what that may look like?
It really is going to be kind of a culmination of everything that God has taught me. I'm going to walk people through the victory framework. I'm going to teach them how to apply, how to really step into and build confidence at a core. I'm going to walk them through the forge analogy, and prior to that, the what's commonly referred to as the refiner's fire, and how that's the precursor to the forge, and how that really sets the stage for the victory framework, and really go a lot deeper than what I just explained. But really just to walk people through what that's like through the lens of my story and the pain and the trials that I've personally had to overcome, the challenges that I've gone through, and what that looks like. It's going to be there's going to be some illumination of pain points. It's going to be raw, and I'm just going to lay it out on the table and say, hey, this is me. This is reality. This is life. Sometimes it sucks, if I can say that. So, life is hard, and we
Life
have
is
to
hard.
be when we're able to recognize that we all have abilities and challenges, and things don't happen to us, they happen for us. And if we can go into those challenges with that same mentality of, I thank God for these challenges because they build me, they make me, they forge me into the man or woman that I need to be to handle what God has in store for me. Because the vision and the purpose that God has for me, the person I am today can't handle that. And if God were just to give it to me today, I would ruin it. I would fail miserably. I wouldn't be able to do what it takes. So God has to bring us gently through that process. And it'll be the illumination of my own process in going through those things. So it's going to be a pretty raw book, but it'll be a very step-by-step journey.
That sounds perfect. Absolutely amazing. Actually, Michael, I'll pass over to you.
I just had one quick question. Would you be able to give us the letters of victory?
Sure.
What each word is?
Sure. I can do that. So the V right off the bat stands for vision. You know, you hear all the leadership books, they talk about, begin with the end in mind, start with why, put the big rocks first, all those things. They're true. You have to start somewhere. And when you put a vision out there that's bigger than where you're at now, it creates a gap. And that gap creates hunger. And hopefully it's a big enough gap that creates big enough hunger that it gets you in motion. Because you can't steer a parked car. You have to get into motion. You have to start something, and you have to begin with something that will push you when times get tough, because they will get tough. So V is vision. You have to start with that. The I is identity. When you're clear on your identity, you understand who you are and whose you are, and the authority that you've been given. Because you understand your authority, when you know who your daddy is, my daddy can beat up your daddy, right? Like, I can walk into a situation, I know who I am. If my dad's the king, I'm gonna kind of carry myself a little different, right? When you're clear on your identity and you have a vision in mind, you begin to get clear on your purpose. And when your purpose begins to align with your vision, now we're talking. Now we're building confidence. We've got a vision aligned with purpose. We've got our identity. We're clear. We're solid. Now we have to start stacking wins in the C, which is character. And with character, you talk about integrity. And when you build those things, it naturally leads into the trust, which is the T. Trusting yourself, for one, again, based right into character. When your character is solid, you can begin to trust yourself. The trust with others and learning how to trust others can be really tough. But again, character and integrity, build that trust with others. And then comes the next piece, which is learning that you can and you should trust God, that he is trustworthy. But the biggest question of all is, can God trust you? Are you faithful in the little that he can trust you with more? So vision, identity, character, trust, and then the O is operate, as in open heart surgery, as in you got to operate on the heart issues. You got to deal with the past, the trauma, all the things that hold us back, often that goes right back to the identity piece, because people say things, people do things, and we take that and we hold on to what people say and we make it a part of our identity. And we hold these limiting beliefs based on trauma, right? And so the O is operate, which leads right into the R, which is relationships. We have to learn how to build good relationships to be the kind of person that others want to build good relationships with. Turning the volume up on positive relationships, learning how to bring those people around you. I like to say often, if you hang around bank robbers long enough, you're going to end up driving the getaway car. If you hang around
Yes.
millionaires long enough, you're going to end up driving the Lamborghini.
Choices, right?
So, who you associate with makes all the difference in the world. And if you're around negative, toxic people, you're going to become negative, toxic people, and vice versa. So relationships are huge. And there's so much depth in each one of these letters. But for brevity's sake, the Y is yes. Learn how to hear God's voice and obey. Learning how to say yes to the opportunities that align with your mission, vision, values. Learning how to say no to the good things so that you can say yes to the great. Too often we say yes, 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 yes. And we're doing all these good things while God's standing there saying, hey, but I have great for you right here. But I'm too busy. I'm too exhausted. I can't afford it. I can't, we don't have the bandwidth. We're too busy doing good. We don't have time for the great, or we don't see the great sitting right in front of us.
Wow.
I love that.
Learning how to say yes to the right things is so, so vital. But then the exclamation point is that you have to do the work. You say yes, but now you have to get to work. You have to prove yourself to be competent when you say yes. You have to actually do the hard work to make the yes a success. So that's the victory framework in a nutshell. And when you gain clarity and you stack wins in those 7 categories, it naturally produces a solid foundation of confidence that is absolutely unshakable, that you have forged through the fire.
Amazing. Oh, this is absolutely beautiful. This again has been Philip Britton joining us. He's found at philipbritton.com, and we could not be more thankful for all the words you've shared here today. For all of us here with Ability MKE Now, as always, we thank you.